We have covered the work of Quido Maria Vyskočil in episode 359. Today we will review his 1920 collection, Vampires. The title story concerns a mysterious castle on a secluded island, where every year lascivious women are invited by the mysterious owner whom no one ever sees, and then when an old blind Pierrot arrives at the feast, the women tear him apart. In midnight, André Duhan has to take a boat to reach his home during a flood, and there he is met by the devil, who tells him his beloved just drowned herself. So he lies down on his bed waiting for his house to be flooded, and as it does, the woman's round body is washed inside. A night in the tomb has two lovers meet in a graveyard as they cannot meet anywhere else. But the floor gives out beneath them and they spend the night in the darkness among the dead. And then a ghost bishop marries them. And then they remain together unmarried for the rest of their lives, despite no longer caring about their family's opposition but never marrying anyway. The tragic perfume concerns Leo Spadrian, who pesters a man watching a dance show by telling him a woman who used him and drove him mad with love, so he shot her. But once he did, he smelled a strange perfume coming from her body, one he smells again at the dance show, suspecting one of the dancers of being the dead woman, so he jumps into a river and drowns. The drama of the astronomical clock has master clockmaker Richard Dietrich live in a clock tower with his daughter Jarmila after the death of his wife, living in total isolation from the world. But one day a man comes to hypnotize Jarmila to try and steal Dietrich's treasure, but Dietrich finds them and hangs one to death on the tower clock face, while the other has his head slowly severed by the clock hand. The bacteria carrier has Eric Dolta finding his third wife dying of typhoid, just like his two other wives, because after he found out he was a carrier of typhoid bacteria, he took no precautions and caused two women to die. And it is the world's fault, apparently. So he goes mad and wants to spread as much typhoid as he could, thinking himself ruler of the world. They put him in an asylum, but just then the Black Plague devastates the country, and death itself gives Eric a nail file to escape out of his cell to see the devastation he has caused, before being buried under a mountain of falling coffins. The battle with the Invisible has Alexander Dustich meet a woman named Alma in Tivoli and falling in love with her, just as she with him, but they never speak until they meet again in Split in Croatia, where Alma gives herself to him, but tells him to leave before her husband kills him like he killed two other men in the past over her affections. Sometime later in Monte Carlo, Alma's husband, the Baron Gazdinsky, finds Alexander and challenges him to a duel. Alexander cannot see how he can win, but before the duel is to happen, he is told the Baron shot himself over losing his fortune at the casino. It is implied his wife was the real cause. Alexander and Alma leave for Bohemia, but one day Alexander is challenged to a duel by the dead Baron's spirit and dies, while Alma is found some time later dead, lying with Alexander in his coffin. The arrow of death concerns Michael Hart, who is accused of having murdered his uncle, but his fiancée Paula uses a dead cat to help prove he was killed by radio waves sent by an eccentric professor from a nearby house. The martyress concerns young Lazarina, who was sold by her mother into a brothel, only for her to die on the steps of the church, covered in the mantle of the Virgin by the sainted woman herself.